Hello and welcome to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Ryan Florentino reporting from London. We bring you news reports from the United Kingdom and Europe, and we have live reporters on standby ready to give their reports. On our program today, return to Plan A, England lifts Omicron curves. Also, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson waits on Partygate allegations report. And after, French unemployment rate in 2021 is at its lowest in almost 10 years. We also have a live report from Ariane Celestino. Hi Ariane, what do we have today?
Hi Ryan, today I will be reporting about British airline Easyjet slashed losses by half in the first quarter, despite the Omicron variant disrupting the travel industry. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ariane. And then after, we move to Spain with our very own live reporter there, Beverly Madrid. Hello, Beverly.
Hello, Ryan. Today I will be reporting about Spain unemployment rate falling to below pre-pandemic rate. Back to you.
Thank you so very much. And after, we move to France this time with our report from Alia Garcia. Hi, Alia.
Bonjour, Ryan. I will be reporting Europeans drug watch the conditionally approved Pfizer COVID-19 pill. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. After that, we move on to sports with Manchester United winger Diallo joins Rangers on loan, which is reported by our very own Keith Dimabuyu. And from our view from our window, Geneva's Botanical Garden is seen in winter. Back to our main news from the UK. Commuters trooped back to the office in England on Thursday, with public transport visibly busier after the government scrapped restrictions imposed to combat the Omicron coronavirus variant. The return to Plan A measures ditching legal requirements for face coverings and shelving vaccine passports. This comes as the number of positive COVID-19 cases has fallen sharply from record levels. Let's take a look at some of their reactions.
Yeah, it feels like it's been ages. It's still a little bit scary. I always keep a mask on me still anyway, but it's a massive relief because it's been, nearly 2 years, and being trapped inside or being restricted outside, it's just been exhausting, especially for someone my age. So yeah, it's a big relief. It's still a bit scary, but no, it's nice.
I don't think it's back to normal. I think my concern is that there's still a virus in town, and I'm not so sure people will take it seriously now. So I have a mask. I'll be using it all day when I'm in an appropriate place.
Yeah, it's strange. I feel like it's a little bit too soon, actually. I'm from Edinburgh and we still wear masks, so it is a bit odd to see people not wearing masks in London. I do think it's a bit early.
And I think a lot of people, in my observation, a lot of people have just got fed up with it now and fed up with having to, not have the complete freedom they were used to for many years, having to, wear masks, keep a distance, etc. But then again, I do like the idea of a culture where we wash our hands a bit more thoroughly than maybe we did before.
Infection rates have plateaued in recent days and are still high. More than 100,000 confirmed cases were recorded on Wednesday. But the National Health Service is no longer facing imminent crisis. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said restrictions could be lifted due to the success of our booster rollout, the tireless work of the NHS, and amazing public response. But he urged more people to get vaccinated and warned the pandemic is not over. Everyone should remain cautious. Limits on visitors to care homes in England will also be scrapped from next week, with residents able to have unlimited visits from family and friends. Businesses will still be able to impose restrictions, but they will no longer be a legal requirement. On public transport in London, for example, face coverings are still mandatory, but secondary school students will no longer have to wear masks. Those who test positive for coronavirus must still self-isolate for a minimum of 5 days. Johnson said he also hopes to scrap those rules when they expire on March 24. Next up, Boris Johnson on Thursday awaited a report into lockdown-breaking parties at Downing Street that could determine his future as Britain's Prime Minister, and rejected new claims that he prioritized pets over people in the recent chaotic Afghan evacuation. Civil servant Sue Gray had been expected to publish her findings about the Partygate allegations, which have seen mounting calls for Johnson to quit. But its publications has been put on hold due to the Metropolitan Police launching its own probe into the claims that have caused public and political outrage. "We are in no way seeking to block the report," Johnson said. The Prime Minister on Thursday was in North Wales, while no further government statements were scheduled in the House of Commons. There has been speculation about Downing Street gatherings that broke social distancing restrictions the government set for the public. I think it has become increasingly clear that the Prime Minister's story is not credible, Lisa Nandy, a senior MP for the opposition Labour Party, said. "I think it's becoming increasingly clear that you cannot believe a word that our Prime Minister said," she added. On Wednesday, France's government spokesman, Gabriel Attal, announced encouraging news regarding the status of unemployment in the country. In his statement, he said, "I want to emphasize that the recovery of our economy and of our employment is continuing. In the fourth quarter, the number of job seekers fell by 5.9%. Over 1 year, that is 12.6% fewer unemployed. That is 500,000 fewer people without any activity." On Twitter, Labour Minister Elizabeth Bourne said that last year was an exceptional year for jobs. The number from late 2021 showed that unemployment in the country has fallen to its lowest in almost 10 years. This adds to a picture of a strong coronavirus rebound for the Eurozone's second largest economy. The country's statistics agency forecasted an economic expansion of 6.7% for 2021, ahead of its preliminary report, compared with an 8% slump in the previous year. That would make France one of the 19 nation Eurozone's top performers, buoyed by massive, pricey government interventions to limit the pandemic's impact on businesses and workers. In the recent weeks, the government has been working on limiting the impact of surging energy prices in Europe by ordering, for example, its state-controlled gas and electricity supplier EDF to sell more cut-price electricity. Now it's time for a break, but please come back for more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Sumbong ng isang babaeng biktima ng identity theft, inimbestigahan. Sapaterong may kapansanan na iniwan ang kanyang pamilya sa gitna ng pandemya, sinakuluhan. Mga kabataan nagbibigay ng libreng edukasyon sa mga batang kalye, ating kilalanin. At bangketa vendor na gumagawa ng mga laruang sasakyan mula sa mga recycled materials, inayudahan.
Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang Responde, Mata ng mamamayan.
Samahan ang paborito nating barkada sa umaga. Magbibigay ng saya, tawanan, at iba't ibang pakulo sa inyong umaga. Busog pa kayo sa kaalaman,
Tony knows!
at updated sa umaarangkadang mga balita. Matutong kumita, magluto, mayroon ding sayawan at kantahan.
What? I am a good girl.
Ang programa na nagbibigay inspirasyon sa bawat kada all over the world.
Here in Net25, we are your fans.
Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng umaga. Dito lang sa Net25. At home kayo rito.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Ryan Florentino with interesting stories from around the UK and Europe this week. We have Easyjet reducing its losses in the first quarter. Ariane Celestino has the report. Hello, Ariane.
Hi, Ryan. So yes, British airline Easyjet slashed losses by half in the first quarter, despite the emergence of the Omicron coronavirus variant, which disrupted the travel industry, the company said Thursday. Pre-tax losses stood at £213 million in the 3 months to the end of December, after a £423 million loss in the same period of the group's previous financial year, the no-frills carrier said in a statement. Revenues jumped almost fivefold to £805 million in the reporting period, while cost-cutting helped offset the impact of inflation. The spread of the Omicron variant in December did hit travel bookings, but they were subsequently boosted by the UK government's recent decision to scrap COVID travel testing. The airline, which is based in Luton, north of London, now expects to return to near pre-pandemic capacity levels in the upcoming summer holiday season between July and August. The UK government had in December reimposed stricter travel rules, including mandatory pre-arrival tests and self-isolation until travelers had tested negative after a surge in cases due to Omicron. However, the travel measures were eased earlier this month as Prime Minister Boris Johnson argued they were having a limited impact while imposing significant costs on the industry. On Monday, the government announced that it will scrap compulsory COVID tests from February 11th for fully jobbed arrivals and quarantine for unvaccinated travelers. Currently, fully vaccinated arrivals are required to take a lateral flow test within 2 days, while those not jobbed must self-isolate for 10 days and take several tests before and after travel. Transport Secretary Quan Chops declared Monday that those requirements would now be axed, making travel easier and cheaper and providing certainty for the travel aviation sector. That's all from me. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ariane. And can we just ask, What is Easyjet's British Airlines expecting from the coming months since Omicron has dented its winter bookings in December?
So Ryan, according to FT.com, UK low-cost carrier Easyjet is still expecting a strong summer ahead. Easyjet has started receiving more bookings from UK passengers than from continental Europe for the first time since spring 2020. It's because of the loosened travel restrictions. Also, Ryan, the ticket sales from the UK to beach and leisure destinations were particularly strong, according to Easyjet's chief executive, John Landgren. Ryan?
Thank you so very much for joining us today, Ariane, and thank you for the report.
Thank you for having me today. Reporting from the United Kingdom, I am Ariane Celestino. We live in interesting times.
And now we move on to Spain, with its unemployment rate in Spain is back to its pre-pandemic level. Beverly Madrid is with us today with the details. Hello, Beverly.
Hello, Ryan. And yes, according to the National Statistics Institute, or INE, unemployment fell sharply in Spain in 2021, falling almost 3 percentage points to a rate not seen since before the pandemic. The rate dropped to 13.3% at the end of December, down from 16.13% a year earlier, with a total of 3.1 million people registered as unemployed in the Eurozone's fourth largest economy. That figure stood at almost 3.7 million at the end of 2020. The most recent unemployment rate is slightly lower than it was before the COVID crisis took hold. Some 3.19 million people were out of work in December 2019, or 13.8% of the workforce. However, the latest figure does not include people registered as partially unemployed under the furlough scheme introduced to help businesses during the pandemic. According to the Social Security Ministry, 102,000 people were still registered in the scheme as of last month. Economy Minister Nadia Calvino said that the figures confirm the extraordinary recovery of the Spanish labor market since the pandemic. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez tweeted, referring to the global financial crisis, the unemployment rate is at its lowest level since 2008. The INE said employment rates rose across the board, with Spain's services sector, which relies on tourism, proving particularly optimistic. The buoyant result came despite an economic recovery that has been less robust than expected due to on and off COVID restrictions and global supply shortages. Spain has been one of the Western economies most affected by the COVID crisis. GDP plummeted 10.8% in 2020, and 500,000 people lost their jobs, many of them in the tourism and hotel sector. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Beverly, for bringing us this story.
Thank you, Ryan. Reporting from Barcelona, Spain, I'm Beverly Madrid. We live in interesting times.
And from Spain, we move to France, with Pfizer gets the conditional approval for their antiviral COVID-19 pill from the European Medicines Agency. To tell us more, here's Alia Garcia. Hello, Alia.
Hi, Ryan. Bonjour à tous. So, as Thursday, January 27, the European Union's drug regulator conditionally approved the use of Pfizer antiviral COVID-19 pill for treating adults at risk of severe illness, as well to fight the Omicron variant. The endorsement by the European Medicines Agency for a conditional approval, if followed as usual by the European Commission, allows European member states to deploy the drug after the regulator gave guidance for its emergency use late last year. Italy, Germany, and Belgium are among a handful of European countries that have bought the drug, branded as Paxlovid. The United States in December authorized Paxlovid and Merck's similar drug, Molnupiravir. European Health Commissioner Stella Kyriakides said the bloc was now making good progress on lining up treatments which she described as a second line of defense after vaccines. Paxlovid is the first oral antiviral for home use in our portfolio and has the potential to make a real difference for persons at high risk of progression to severe COVID, she said. According to the company's clinical trial, the two-drug antiviral regimen called Paxlovid has recently been found effective in reducing hospitalization and deaths for patients who have a high risk of severe illness. The data also suggests that it is also effective against the recent COVID variant, Omicron. Even though it currently is in trial, studies show that it has only been tested on individuals who yet need to get vaccinated. Therefore, potential questions arise on its usage in individuals who currently are vaccinated. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, and merci, Elia, for that update.
Merci beaucoup aussi. Thank you for having me. For Eagle News International from Paris, France, I am Alia Garcia, and we live in interesting times.
Now it's time for another break, but please come back for more ENI and UK Europe edition.
Marami ang sa kanila ay natutuwa dahil sa kanilang pag-TikTok ng mga videos na patok na patok.
Ang masasabi ko lang, nung normal ako nung influencer na ako, nagpapasaya ako ng mga broken-hearted na tao.
Actually, ikaw ba'y broken-hearted o ikaw ba'y may boyfriend?
Married na po ako.
Married. O, balungkot ka ngayon. Subukan mo magpasaya.
Pwede na po ba pindutin agad?
Kamay sa bewang. Ang eyes to rule ay isang Japanese phrase na ang ibig sabihin ay agad-agad. John Chris.
Ay papasok ko doon sa player na alam kong hindi niya alam to.
Okay, ano may papasok tanong?
Angeline.
Angeline. Ang tamang sagot ay... ngayon, friends na kayo ulit. At ito ang Tara Game Agad-Agad!
Earlier this month, Filipino-Chinese businessmen predicted a 6.5 to 7.5 economic growth in the Philippines. Ngunit dahil sa trend ng COVID cases na mataas pa rin sa kasalukuyan, tila maiiba ang istorya sa first quarter ng 2022. Foreign ownership, which is also seen by some as significant to the country's path to economic recovery, is a hot topic in the upcoming elections. In this episode, we'll find out from the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Inc., President Dr. Henry Lim Bonleong, how changes to the Public Service Act or the bill seeking to amend the law to allow foreign ownership of airlines and telecommunications firms, among others, can affect the country's economic situation. Sa bawat pamumuno daw po ng isang pangulo ay may isang Chinese, may Chinoy, o kaya ay may isang Taipan sa likod ng pangulo. What can you say about this?
Of course, I want the next president to make sure yung promise nila na agriculture and education will be the top priority.
All these in this episode of Open for Business.
Sana'y malaman nyo, nandito lang ako hanggang sa dulo ng ating mundo. Masayang alaala.
Hello guys, please catch me on Letters and Music on air and online this coming Sunday, January 30, 1 to 2 p.m. only here in Net 25. See you!
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Ryan Florentino with more interesting stories from around the UK and Europe this week. In sports, Keith Dimabuyu gives us the latest in football. Let's listen in.
During this January Premier League break, teams have taken action, not on the pitch, but in this month's transfer window. In the case of Manchester United, teenager Amad Diallo has joined Scottish champions Glasgow Rangers on loan for the rest of the season. The highly rated 19-year-old joined United a year ago for a fee that could reach €41 million or £34 million with extra add-ons. Diallo made up 8 appearances last season and was set to join Dutch club Feyenoord on a season-long loan in August, only for a thigh injury to scupper that move. The Ivory Coast international has only played one first-team match for United since returning to fitness. He has faced stiff competition for places in the white positions at Old Trafford and has found himself behind Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Jadon Sancho, and the likes of Anthony Elanga in the pecking order. "I'm delighted to join Rangers until the end of the season," said Amad Diallo. "It is fantastic for me at this stage of my career to have the opportunity to come to such a big club that is challenging on a number of fronts and will give me some excellent opportunities to test myself in many environments." Rangers lead rival Celtic by 4 points at the top of the Scottish Premiership and face Borussia Dortmund in the last 32 of the Europa League next month. Rangers manager Giovanni von Bronckhorst commented on this signing and quotes, "I'm really pleased to add Amad to our squad for the rest of the season. He is a player who I have been aware of for some time, and when the opportunity to sign him came up, we were very keen to make it happen. He will add a lot to our squad and provide even more competition for the players in the forward areas." Diallo could make his debut as early as Saturday when Rangers visit Ross County before a huge clash with Celtic on Wednesday. Reporting from the UK for ENI, I am Keith Dimabuyu, and we live in interesting times.
And we thank our reporter Keith for that very interesting report. From our view, from our window today, we take you to Geneva, Switzerland's Botanical Garden. Even during wintertime, Geneva's Botanical Garden remains a good place to see and explore. Easily accessible and located at the city center next to the lake, the garden has more than 16,000 different species of plants, trees, and shrubs. They bloom at different seasons so that visitors can enjoy the garden all year round. The garden has informative signboards beside the plants and trees, so enthusiasts can learn about the different species. Children can enjoy a nice playground and discover animals, and of course, there's lots of space for everyone to enjoy at any season of the year. Today's view is courtesy of Christine Benedicto from EBC Switzerland. Thank you for this very nice view, Christine. And that's it for today's program. Stay safe and keep positive as we bring you more stories next week from the United Kingdom and Europe. I am Ryan Florentino, and we live in interesting times.